Something good happens, and you wait to feel it, but it doesn't come. Or something small happens, and you're angrier than you expected. Or someone asks what you want, and you genuinely don't know. If any of those landed, you're in gig company. Most of us, at some point, have stood in one of those three places, waiting for a feeling that doesn't arrive, surprised by how much something small can sting, or searching inside for an answer and finding nothing clear. You've probably told yourself, that's just how I am. But what if it isn't?
These aren't personality traits. They're what happens when a nervous system has been working very hard for a very long time. And it adapts, not to hurt you, to protect you. But somewhere along the way, the adaptation starts to feel like you. Researchers and clinicians have noticed a pattern. When stress stays long enough, it doesn't just affect how you feel, it starts to affect how you see yourself. The behaviors you develop to survive begin to look like personality. They feel like facts. Somewhere along the way, surviving became your personality.
Which is a kind of achievement, really. It's just not the one anyone wanted. And from the outside, it looks a lot like someone who just has a difficult personality. A movie ends, someone cries. You watch them cry. You check, are you supposed to feel something here? Apparently yes. Here's what happens in a nervous system that's been under pressure for a long time. At some point, it turns down the volume, not on sound, on feeling.
Because when everything has felt like too much, the system finds a way to feel less. Less pain, less fear, less overwhelm. But here's what it can't sort. It turns down everything. Joy too, relief too, the feeling of something being okay. So good news arrives, and you wait for the feeling, and it doesn't come. Not because you don't care, because your system learned that feeling things was dangerous. And honestly, that's a lot to carry around without knowing that's what it is. And here's what makes it harder. When you stop feeling for long enough, you start to build a story about yourself. I'm just not a very emotional person. I don't really get affected by things. The absence of feeling becomes a fact about who you are, but it isn't a fact. It's a protection strategy that's been running so long you forgot it wasn't always there. This isn't who you are. This is what your nervous system learned to do when the world felt like too much. There's a difference. You're not cold. Your system learned that feeling things wasn't safe.
The phone notification sounds, the same sound as yesterday, and somehow it's too much, which, to be honest, is a reasonable reaction. It's also not really about the notification. Imagine carrying something heavy all day, every day. At first, you adjust. You find a way to hold it. But after long enough, your arms are tired in a way that rest doesn't fix. This is what chronic stress does, not just to your body, to your capacity. When the system has been carrying too much for too long, it runs out of room. And when there's no room left, small things feel big. Not because the things are big, because the system is full. A light that's too bright, a sound that won't stop, things that never used to bother you. That's not a personality. That's a system that's been asked to hold more than it can. And just like the first pattern, it builds a story. I'm just short-tempered. I'm not good with people. I've always been like this. And once a story like that settles in, you stop wondering where it came from. It just becomes the shape of you. You're not an irritable person. You're a person whose system has been carrying more than it should for longer than it should. That's not the same thing. You're not overreacting. You're overloaded. There's a difference. Someone asks, "What do you want?" And you pause, not because the question is hard, because you genuinely don't know, which is technically a very simple question. Your body sends signals all the time: hungry, tired, tense, wanting something. But when the stress system has been running for a long time, it starts to take over.
It's not that the signals disappear. It's that survival becomes louder. Your system keeps asking, is it safe? Is there a threat? What do I need to watch for? And underneath all that noise, hunger, preference, wanting something just for you, those go quiet. So when someone asks what you want, you search inside and you find the noise, but not the answer. And there's something else happening too. This is the part where it gets a little uncomfortable. And then there's a third thing, quieter than the other two, but just as present.
When you've spent a long time in survival mode, you learn to want what feels safe, not what feels true. Some clinicians have noticed people who learned early to adapt, to read the room, to adjust, to disappear, often lose access to what they actually want. Not because they never had it, because they learned not to need it. And after long enough, "I don't know what I want" starts to feel like a personality, like a fact about who you are. But it isn't. It's a distance between you and the part of you that had to go quiet in order to survive. You didn't lose yourself. You learned to be quiet. Those are different things. 3 things we've talked about, but not all of them. There's a longer list if you want it. There's also the way you can't remember things you used to enjoy. The way motivation shows up late, or not at all. The way you feel tired before the day starts. The way nothing feels quite real sometimes. The way you used to feel more. All of it comes from the same place, and that place is not your personality.
Here's what stays with me. Every pattern we talked about started as something useful. Your system turned down the volume because it was too loud. It ran out of room because it was asked to carry too much. It went quiet about what you wanted because quiet was safer. It wasn't trying to take anything from you. It was trying to keep you here. And the next time you catch yourself saying, "That's just how I am," maybe sit with that a little longer. Because something that was learned can be unlearned. Something that went quiet can find its way back. I'm not sure when. I don't think anyone is. But here's the question I keep coming back to. If so much of this was learned, what parts of you are actually yours? And what would it feel like to finally meet them? Notice which one felt familiar.